I love Pokemon. Ever since I was a kid, I've loved Pokemon. Making friends with these awesome little creatures appealed to me even back then and hasn't changed as I've gotten older and more cynical. I still love Pokemon today, even if the most recent game was a flaming pile of garbage. In addition to Pokemon, I also love video games, as most of you probably already knew. Today, I thought I would combine Pokemon with other video games and give teams of Pokemon to characters from video games I've played and enjoyed. Quick disclaimer, each character can only have a full team of 6 Pokemon, so there's no way that I could represent everything about everyone with only giving them 6. However, I think I did pretty well for most of them. Alright, without any further ado, let's get into it. Mario is, in my opinion, the most iconic video game character of all time. My grandpa, who has never played a video game in his life, knows who Mario is. There's no way I could start this list off with anyone besides him. He has a shiny Breloom because it resembles him pretty well. The Breloom is shiny to better match Mario's color scheme. He has a Sunflora and Cinderace to represent the Fire Flower, Sunflora to represent the flower itself, and Cinderace to represent the power-up. Its signature move is just a synonym of Fireball. I guess it could also be a reference to the Mario Striker games, but it's definitely more so the Fire Flower. He has a Staryu to represent everything star-related in Mario, whether that be the Star Power-Up, stars from Mario 64, or basically anything from Mario Galaxy. There's so many star-related things in the Mario franchise. He has a Lunatone to represent the moons you collect in Mario Odyssey, and finally, a Koraidon to represent Mario Kart, since it's a motorcycle. I guess it could also represent Yoshi because it's a dinosaur you ride, but I think Yoshi deserves his own Pokemon team rather than being resembled in Mario's. Mario's team was pretty fun to come up with. There's so many things he's done, and so many things to get inspiration from. There's no way I could fit them all, but I think I did a pretty good job. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is my favorite game of all time. The first time I saw Link run out of the Shrine of Resurrection and onto the Great Plateau was a defining moment in my young life, and 100%ing the game remains one of my greatest achievements today, which may or may not be really sad depending on who you ask. Link has a team of Pokemon that represent him through many different Zelda games. He has an Aegislash because the incarnation of Link may change, but they all use a sword and shield. He has a Rapidash to represent Epona, his horse that has appeared in many Zelda games. He has a Noctowl to represent Gepora, the owl who assists you in Ocarina of Time. He has a Rotom, because Rotom is essentially a sentient Zonai charge, and its various forms are sentient Zonai devices. He is a Gallade because of its many Pokédex entries that mention how it'll fight violently to protect those it cares about, just like Link. It also has swords for arms, which I think Link would just vibe with. For his final Pokemon, I debated between giving him Cobalion or Keldeo, but I settled on Cobalion because I figured its steel type fit Link more than Keldeo's water type, although I think any 4 of the Swords of Justice would fit him. Link's team was the easiest to come up with due to how many Pokemon fit so many of his attributes and how much I know about him, because I've played a lot of Zelda games. Metroid is one of the most underrated franchises in all of gaming. There are almost no bad Metroid games, and the one bad Metroid game made the series go into hibernation for more than 10 years. Samus Aran is a badass and absolutely deserves a spot in this video. Her team of Pokemon represent most major things about her, but I will say this, she has, in my opinion, the most complete team out of everyone in this video in regards to aspects of her. To start off, she has a Golurk to represent her power suit, as Golurk has been shown numerous times throughout various Pokemon media that it's basically a sentient version of Samus's power suit. She has a Metagross to represent her ship, and a Tentacruel to represent Metroids themselves. She has a Xatu to represent the Chozo, who, if you don't know, are this bird species that essentially raised her. I picked Xatu because it's, in my opinion, the Pokemon that looks most similar to the Chozo. She has a Solosis to represent the X-Parasites, because after the end of Metroid Dread, there's no way I couldn't include something related to the X-Parasites, and Solosis, very similar to the X-Parasites, is a gooey, gelatinous orb. Finally, she has a Pikachu because of their relationship in Super Smash Bros. Brawl's Subspace Emissary. Like I mentioned earlier, Samus probably has the most complete team out of all 6 people in this video in regards to her Pokemon representing things about her, and I had a lot of fun making her team. Kirby, the pink inflatable puffball that is somehow also the strongest Nintendo character, of course had to be included in this video. The themes of his team should be quite obvious just by looking at them, but I'm gonna still go over them. He has a Jigglypuff because they're the same, except for nothing. They are the same. He has a Clefable and a pink Minior because they're both pink things from space, just like Kirby. He has an Alcremie because there's no way Kirby wouldn't have a literal cake on his team if given the opportunity. He has a Munchlax because of its appetite. Both it and Kirby consume a lot of things. Finally, he has a pink Arceus, because Kirby is known for killing gods, so it makes sense that instead of killing one, he'd be good friends with it. Kirby's team was very easy to come up with. You just take pink and food and nothing else, and you make a Pokemon team out of that. Sonic is one of the 2 non-Nintendo characters in this video. His team was harder to come up with than everyone else in this video simply because I don't play a lot of Sonic games, but I just decided to make his team pretty fast. He has a Regieleki because there's no way Sonic wouldn't have the fastest Pokemon of all time on his team. He has Deoxys Speed because it's the 2nd fastest Pokemon of all time, and it's from space, which is somewhere Sonic goes a lot in his games. He has a shiny Electrode because it was the original fastest Pokemon, but also to represent his Spin Dash because in a lot of his animations, it spins while attacking. It's shiny because the blue Electrode just makes more sense than a red one for Sonic. He has a Togedemaru and a Shaman because they're both hedgehogs, but also in Togedemaru's case, it's a fast, spiky hedgehog similar to Sonic, and Shaman because of its other form that makes it faster and stronger, similar to Super Sonic. Finally, he has a Vulpix to represent his buddy Tails. The angsty edgelord that is Cloud Strife is the final person in this video, and his team was very fun to come up with due to how many cool things there are about him, and the game he's from. He has a Jolteon because it and Cloud's hair are very similar, and whenever I play Final Fantasy VII, I always give Cloud a lightning materia. He has Lucario to represent Tifa and Gardevoir to represent Aerith, something I felt worked especially well not just because the 2 Pokemon fight very similarly to their respective Final Fantasy counterpart, but also due to all of the people I just mentioned's status on the internet. He has a Silvally to represent his Genova cells. Silvally is a combination of a ton of different things and was born in a lab, similar to the backstory of how Cloud got his Genova cells. He has a Sirfetch'd to represent his massive sword, and he has an Absol because it embodies Cloud more than any other Pokemon, and in my opinion, represents Sephiroth pretty well too. Thank you so much for watching. I tried something new with this video, so if you liked it, please let me know. I enjoyed making it, but it was a lot more editing than I'm used to. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.